Welcome to the Chi podcast. It's your girl Janelle Renee, and I am here to recap my least favorite episode, season 6, episode 7, Long Live, where we have to pay our final respects to Pastor. I'm not excited about this. It was a heavy watch. Let's dive in. Papa's in the church and he's clearly distraught. He's looking like he's just in shock. And I would be too. Like, you just had this conversation with your dad about who you should be dating and not dating. And then you get the news that not only is he gone, but he was murdered. This scene just broke me in a million pieces and we just hit play. Lena, I'm not too happy with y'all right now. I'm really not. Because why y'all have to do us like this? But fun fact about me is I can remember when I fell in love with the art of film. And this episode gave me that reminder, something that I never really continued to think about, but somewhere deep down inside, I feel like I was supposed to be a director or something. I don't know. Something in the creative realm. But when I fell in love with the art of film was when I watched Spike Lee's Crooklyn. That's when I first learned about what a dolly shot even was. Dolly shot, if you guys don't know, that's what we see in the church scene when Papa is going down the aisle. It's the illusion of the background warping around that person because the camera is moving towards the subject from different angles. I hope I explained that right. Y'all let me know. But it's just the way they film certain things I truly enjoy. And I really was reminded of that. So maybe that thoughts of possibly getting into film some way, somehow down the line, it may not be too far fetched, you know, but I enjoyed that scene, even though it crushed me at the same time. Bakari goes to confront Nuck. Oh my gosh. You guys know that the only male figure that he truly had was Pastor Jackson. So when he heard of the murder of Pastor Jackson, he instantly knew who to go after because he knew it was one of his boys. And I can only imagine how conflicted he even feels because he is in he's playing both sides. He's truly playing both sides. On one end, I feel like he's seeing the value of trying to live his life right in a certain way. But then on the other end, he works with these people. You're not supposed to be feeling this way. You're supposed to be down with the team, down with the cause. Like, if you're ordered to do something, that's what it is. Like, family or no family, they don't necessarily care about that. So him confronting Nuck, trying to determine why he killed Pastor Jackson, and Nuck was like, listen, he was talking too much. We had to end that. We had to do it. So he's holding the gun to Nuck's head, and Zay now is holding the gun on Bakari. And it's one of those moments, okay, you shoot Nuck, you definitely gonna get killed here. He realized that in that moment. But was it just me, or was Zay just looking too trigger happy? He looked like he just wanted to um, just shoot off for no reason. Like, he was ready to the point that Nuck even had to instruct him to put the gun down. Bakari in this scene, oh, I don't know how he's going to truly move on playing both sides. I don't see it continuing this way. Like, he going to have to pick a side. There's no way that he could do both. Papa is still at church. He's sitting in a pew and he is just whimpering. He doesn't have any words. He's just sitting there And you could tell he's thinking of a million and one things. I'm sure he's probably even dwelling on the last conversation that he had. But Kevin and Jake came to show some support and let them know that he's here from them for him. And they're trying to determine what it is that he's needing right now. And right now, he's wanting to be alone. And as a friend, like, I know how hard it is to not even know what to say or what to do, because this is a tremendous loss, not only for Papa, but for the whole community. Like, everyone is feeling this. But then Bakari came in to the church as Kevin and Jake were heading to leave. And they gave him a look like, we know you had something to do with this. How dare you show your face here? Um, but Bakari, at this point, he's just trying to, make amends because I know how it looks. Papa says, what the fuck are you doing here? Because you're not welcomed here at this point. You're the ops. Like, my dad was noble. He was a leader of this community. He didn't do nothing. He tried to live right. And he gets murdered. And I know your crew had something to do with it. But this is what took me. It blew my mind when he said this. When Bakari said, if he would have just watched the money, don't say that to me. Don't say that to me. My father was just murdered by your peoples. It don't matter if he watched the money or not. Like, Pastor Jackson being a civilian, Duda definitely crossed the line. He had nothing to do with any of this life. So there's no reason why, just because he was talking to the community as a leader, why they took him out. Like, he was just doing his job. First of all, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing these two argue. So Keisha is gathering her things to move out because she heard about the passing of Pastor. Emmett promises to fix everything and begs her not to leave. She agrees to stay in the guest room until he fixes it. But if something else happens, she's gone. I don't see what she's expecting here. I don't see how he's gonna fix it. Because you also have to remember, Keisha don't know that Emmett is just coming off of being concussed. He just got pistol whipped. Okay, She don't know all these intricate pieces that transpired with Emmett. Emmett tried. So he's making promises that he can't keep at this point. Emmett walks upstairs to get the guest room ready. And as he's upstairs, Keisha pulls out her phone and she texts someone saying that she needs to talk. I immediately thought Nuck, but we're going to see who she texts later. Victor and Jake are at the table having breakfast when Victor asks Jake about how he's feeling. Because he doesn't want him to, hold his feelings in. There's been a lot going on, and he just wants to make sure that he's good. And Jake mentions that, when he returns, he said that, he could trust them. And Jake is like, well, since you've been back, I don't feel like you trust me with anything. And Victor finally uses this opportunity to open up about the whole situation with Duda. And to our surprise, or not, I wouldn't even say to our surprise, because we knew Jake would know how to fill in these blanks because that's what he realized immediately. The second he started telling the story about what was happening, Jake filled in the blanks. Because Jake is not, like, he grew up really defending himself. Like, Jake spent some time with Duda, and he knows that Duda not just gonna be riding around just for fun. Like, he knows that, okay, anytime he comes around, he wants something, he needs something. So I'm a little privy to what you're trying to put down. So let me guess. You had to help throw away the body? I don't understand why Victor keeps underestimating Jake and what Jake knows. But at this point, you should know that, Jake knows more than the average kid because of how he came up. Like, his guardian was his brother Reg. So we shouldn't think that he knows a couple of things about the streets. We see who Keisha texts because we get into the lounge where Nuck is getting a haircut, and in walks Keisha, and he offers her a drink, but they sit and talk, and she's there, pretty much trying to see if she could be promised that her family will be protected. She knows that Nuck has Duda's ear, but he informs her that, he doesn't listen to anything that he says. Although Emmett works for us, there's nothing that y'all have to worry about. But again, these are promises that can't be kept. Keisha really tried to be all sensual with Nuck though. This is the softest we've seen her all damn season. So we know you capable of doing it, sis. But I know this is gonna blow up in your face. I have that feeling it's gonna blow up. I think that Keisha was completely out of line for going behind Emmett's back and talking to Nuck. Like she knew what she doing. I still don't have that much hope for them two because of all this crap going on. But Keisha really tried it. Victor and Quincy are talking because a lot of members of the community are gathering at the office because they are scared after finding out Pastor Jackson was murdered. And Victor says that these people, they're hurting, they need to grieve, they need comfort. So he has the idea of having a candle visual so that we can all grieve together. But when he mentioned that he didn't want any cameras there, again, Quincy gave off a vibe that like he has something else up his sleeve. Like he's not giving me the I'm all for the campaign vibes. Like it seems like he has more at stake that he's trying to pull off. And without having cameras, I just found it odd how he reacted. I don't know. Tell me if I'm reaching. Do y'all think that Quincy is up to something? I truly think so. Like something about him is off. And with us knowing that his fiance is working with Duda, I'm still keeping my eye on him. I am. Papa is scrolling through his pictures with his dad. And Kenny is there asking if he needs anything. What can she do in this hard time? And Papa is cold as ice. He's very short. Every time she asks him something, it has like an attitude tone. And we know he's going through a lot. So it's like, how do you respond to this? So she gets up and says that she's going to leave. And he's like, all right. And she turns around and she was like, listen, don't treat me like shit because you feel like shit. And that's where he used that moment to let her know what his last conversation with his dad was about. And he informed her that his dad felt that he wasn't ready for, you know, being responsible in this capacity. And he said, and in this moment, I now understand. Ooh. Oh, I was like, dang, Papa, you cutting deep with that dagger. So Kenya gets up and leave because you ain't got to tell me more than once, baby. She got up and walked out. Papa, he's just like, he has no kids in the world right now. Like, he lost the most important thing to him. And we not going to see regular Papa for a while. I don't see it because that's the coldest I've seen him. It's even to the point where I was like, ooh, is he going to go to the dark side? I don't know. Y'all, I think I need to find a therapist. Because the way that therapist read Keisha throughout this episode, yeah, I'm going to need her. Like, is she an actress or is she truly a therapist? I want to know. Because if she truly is one, oh, the way she brought clarity into the scenes, I was like, oh my gosh. Keisha's at therapy and she vents about the bag of money, but she's indirectly saying it. And I'm like, girl, you should know that's the one thing that you don't mention because yes, you do have privacy privilege with your therapist. However, if your therapist ever feels that you're in harm's way or if your kids are in danger, your therapist does have a duty to report it. So when Keisha started talking about how he violated her trust by bringing in that bag of money, she quickly had to make up a lie. But then she further asks Keisha about, her upbringing, more about her parents and what her experience was like. And she mentions that, her parents divorced when she was young, but she was surprised about it because she never seen them argue. And then as a teen, he died suddenly. But she does have recollection of him just controlling everything down to even what they watched. When the therapist made that realization that, maybe Nina didn't know how to navigate that, and now she's being controlling because of her trying to get that time back. It blew my mind. So, based off of all the intricate details that Keisha was mentioning about Keisha and her mom's dynamics, she does suggest that her mom join for a therapy session. And Keisha said, I really like the space to be about me. So I just want to keep it that way. But the therapist suggests that her mom was the first one to break her heart. And Keisha was like, shit. I think everybody in that moment was like, well, damn. Y'all let me know how y'all felt when she said that line. When she said, I am led to believe that your mother is the first one to break your heart. And this is why I'm an advocate, because we do things subconsciously based off of our upbringings, um, based off of our experiences, and don't even know where they're coming from. So I see therapy as a platform of, unpacking the subconscious, unpacking the things that we may have been hiding and not knowing exists. Let's get back to my Google search at this point. Because if anything, I learned from this episode was that there's still work that needs to be done. Because it does play a big role, like your experiences with your parents. Darnell and Emmett are having a drink and catching up, and Emmett lets him know that Keisha almost left him that morning. And he got her to stay because he promised, that he'll cut ties with Duda. And Darnell's trying to figure out, how do you plan on doing this? Like, just because you're not doing anything illegal, like, you're still in harm's way because of the company that you're keeping. So he plans on buying himself out. Again, Emmett is telling him what's going on, but not telling him what's going on because he already tried that. And Emmett doesn't even know the cost, but Darnell is like, listen, find out how much it is, and we gonna figure this out together. Because I'm all for Team Keisha. Get rid of Duda. That's the most important thing that we need to do. Gemma comes to the studio 20 minutes late, and I don't know if it's just me, but Gemma got a whole nother swag this episode. It seemed like she unleashed like another level of bougie, because I don't know what we seeing today. She was really getting on my nerves. Like, she comes into the studio 20 minutes late from her meeting, and Maisha goes off. She questions who the meeting was with, and that's when Gemma lets Maisha know that I was in the meeting with Bakari's sister. Now, a part of me thinks that Gemma lied about the meeting so that she could get Maisha worked up. And she didn't think it was going to come this way, like it was going to go this way with the diss track. And then a part of me thinks that Gemma is Gemma, and like I said, there was going to be a test to their relationship. Like, there was going to be a breakdown in communication, and we saw that in the scene. So Maisha's like, how are you going to be trying to represent somebody else when you haven't even allowed me to get to where I'm trying to go? And with what Gemma said is true. Like, you're not providing the tracks, that's necessary. Like, Bakari's Sisters EP is almost done, and we're still working on that. So it's not that I'm not putting my attention into you, but if you're not providing me the product, which is your tracks, then how else am I supposed to be moving you? Like, you need more tracks. But Maisha shut her up and shut her down when the producer hit play and record, and she went in on her. She went in on Gemma and gave her the meanest diss track. Okay, I wish I could put it on repeat because she told her about herself. And Gemma's face when Maisha was doing the diss track, It was hilarious though. It was like, oh no, she didn't. Well, tell me how you really feel. And it sound good. So, some people they just need to be motivated by anger sometimes, I guess. Because that was better than what she was doing in the beginning of the season. But are they gonna work together after all she said on this diss track? Cause she even talked about her dad and all of this. I don't know if they're gonna get back from that, but I don't know. It's funny to me because I was just waiting for this to happen because their breakdown in friendship started with the first few episodes. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this man kept them guns in that vent. And I was saying it was going to come out sooner or later, and it sure enough did here. So someone is breaking into Deja's house while Shad and Deja are cuddling up on the couch. It looks like they may have been watching a movie or something and fell asleep. So they're cuddling up on the couch, and you hear some glass breaking, and Mr. Wise Guy feels like the best thing to do is go get the whole bag of guns, put it out in the living room, cock one back, and threaten someone to get out while the rest of the guns remain in the living room. And Deja is definitely not about this life. And she's shook because this is not no little pum pum. These are shotguns, from my understanding, if I could see in the bag well. I would be shook too. Like, you have a past. You didn't tell me about these guns. So when you threatening someone to get out the house with the shotgun, yeah, I'm gonna be alarmed with that. But when I see you have a whole bag, oh yeah, you must most definitely need to get rid of those. Deja, she demands like, get it out my house now, or you're gonna have to leave. One or the other. And he says, I'll take it out in the morning. And she's like, no, right now. Right the fuck now. I don't think she overreacted at all. Because why do you have this big old bag of guns? And does Chicago not have any soil? I'm starting to think because they're in the house like you couldn't dig nothing up. I'm still on that. I still feel like he could have, like when we first originally saw him hide the guns, that could have been just temporarily, just to get it out of the way. But I think that he should have found an alternative before his girl came back. But no, Emmett gets to the lounge to look for Duda, but Nuck intervenes, and I'm sure he enjoyed doing this because he was very calculated with this. He knew damn well that Keisha was there behind Emmett's back, and he made it his job to let Emmett know that Keisha came and spoke with him. Like, why did you have to do that? Like, you knew exactly what you was doing. I could only imagine as Emmett, like, he already probably felt some type of way when he saw them talking at the housewarming, but nothing of it, so he just left it alone. But now that you're telling me that your shorty was here and we had a conversation, everything's straight, that's trouble. There's going to be trouble in paradise. Victor is getting to know Fatima's friends. I can't recall their names. I don't know why. I believe one is Isis. I can't remember her other name. What is her name? Y'all let me know. But Victor's at the table. He has a nice spread. You could tell that this is the first time they're meeting, so they're trying to determine what's this about. And Victor just has questions about, how they feel. Fatima will think about possibly starting a family. Wedding, having a wedding was mentioned, how he sees that in their future. And he mentions that, I don't plan on playing with Fatima. Like, I'm really serious about this, and this is something that I want. And I feel like the future is bright. I just want to ask y'all what y'all think. I think he's scared to bring it up. Um, and to be honest, I'm still kind of shocked that this conversation is happening because I'm like, this is a huge step, especially after you just been interrogated by the FBI. Like, I would want to at least know that issue is resolved first before going to have a baby. But again, that ain't my business. Keisha and Nina, agreed to therapy. So I'm happy that, one, I know it's uncomfortable. I know this is something that is not easy, especially when you feel like you're constantly hearing all the things that you could have done better. And that's what Nina says. She's like, I'm here, but it really bothers me to have to keep hearing what I could have done and didn't do, when I try to do the best that I can. Therapist asked Nina to share with Keisha something she's never shared before. And Nina takes a moment, she adjusts herself, making her more open to the conversation. They both turn to each other, and Nina's like, she never felt that she had the room to do exactly what it is that she wanted to do. She wanted to explore the world, she wanted to explore her sexuality, and she ended up doing all these things later in life because she wasn't given that space to authentically be herself due to her mom and society saying that you need to find a good black man, get married, and have kids. And she makes the statement of, I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to have kids. And I could see why Keisha reacted in this way. Like, you're hearing that and you would think that, oh, so you didn't want me. But I truly felt like, that's not what she was trying to say. I truly feel like when she got married, or before she even got married, she didn't have any desires or really thought about having kids. But, when you're going down the path of marriage and eventually this is something that happens, I don't think that she didn't want them. I just think that that wasn't a plan that she had it for herself. Like, she didn't have that plan for herself. She wasn't living her life for her. She was living it for her mom. So I feel like she got caught up in that lifestyle by, you know, the norms, the everyday. Everybody puts those pressures of, oh, you're supposed to be married, oh, you're supposed to have kids, you're supposed to do A, B, C, D. And not everybody has those same hopes and desires. So, although it was very hard for Keisha to hear those words, I think it was necessary still, because yes, those words probably feels like a knife to Keisha now, but I think that's going to eliminate the questions as to why things are the way they are. Like, to me, as a child, there has to come a point in your life where you separate the title of them being your parents and you're looking at them just as human. Because we hold a higher standard for our parents, but they're still human. So you have to understand that they're that person first, even if they're their mom. And this is truly where, the healing begins. Like, having these uncomfortable conversations is where we see the most growth. Like, we are a community of hundreds and hundreds of years of trauma. So we have to, be more open to working through these things. So I love that the show is still highlighting these uncomfortable ass conversations, because this was hard to watch. When I tell you, I was boo-hoo crying throughout this whole episode. Boo-hoo crying. It didn't make no sense. I'm so mad at Lena Waithe. Why? Because why you approve this? Having me in shambles. Kevin is packing up for LA, and I just can't believe this. Like, he moved out, he got his own place. Now he packing up his place, and how he packing it up, you would think this boy was here for years. Emmett lets him know that, he's gonna miss him. Like, you've been a little brother to me. And Kevin lets Emmett know that, I thank you for all the support that you have given me. You have always been there for me, and for that you will always be my big brother. And they let each other know that regardless of what's going on, if you need me, I'm here. We arrive at the wake, and we see Bakari going to pay his respects to Pastor Jackson and to say sorry, because I can't even fathom how Bakari feels, because he knows the people that he rolls with is responsible for this. He's apologetic when he's standing over Pastor Jackson's body. And you could see that this is really tearing him up. And I'm still trying to determine how he's going to react to all of this. When everything really settles, Papa shows up, and surprisingly, he says some encouraging words to Bakari. And in this moment, I was like, okay, all is not gone with Papa. He's not diving down the fast end. He's just still processing. And with grief, it's going to be so many different levels. But he approaches Bakari while Bakari's standing over Pastor Jackson at the wake, and he lets him know that Dad looked at you like a son. He really loved you, and he just wanted the best for us. He wanted us to live our best lives, and he's still in spirit. Be your best self. That's all he could ever ask for. And Papa, he's showing so much strength. He's showing that resiliency that children do have. Like this road is not going to be easy by all means, but the fact that we see a difference in his demeanor and his attitude in this moment, it gives me hope, because I was really praying that he wasn't going to go to the dark side. I got every vibe, but in this scene, I'm not getting that. Gemma is doing Jake's hair while they are listening to Britney's music, and Jake thinks her music sounds like everything else that he hears on the radio. And he feels that she should be, focusing on Maisha. And Gemma is like, are you just saying that because you're jealous, or are you saying that because you really want me to just focus on Maisha? Like, which one? And Jake is like, listen, I'm not afraid of no broad. I'm not jealous of nobody. I just want you to be able to make the money that you need, and you get to where you're trying to go. I don't feel like she's going to bring you in that money. You just need somebody that's going to bring you in money. Jake gets up and he's like, listen, you just need to be careful. Make sure she's trying to just work and nothing else. But it was the hair flip for me, because Jake got all that hair, and it was just funny how he's talking to Gemma and he's like, well, just make sure she ain't working nothing else. Hair flip. Like, it was funny. But I think Gemma up to something. Like, Gemma, she giving different energy this episode. So I think she walking a thin line, because she just seems over eager. Okay. Shad brings the guns to Bakari at the funeral home, and he lets him know that, listen, I can't hold this no more. He shoves the bag into Bakari's chest. Bakari is like, why are you just gonna bring it to me here on the street? And he was like, listen, these guns need to be as far away from my crib as possible. Like, I can't keep them here. And the one thing you better not do is bring these bag of guns to Pastor Jackson's house. Um, or he gonna be turning in his graves. But to be all honest, like, I truly feel like the best place to put the guns right now is Pastor Jackson's house, because who's gonna be looking for it there now? I'm sorry, too early? I don't know. Nuck and Duda are playing chess. Zay wants to learn how to play, and Duda's like, listen, I ain't got the time for that. So Zay is agreeing that he's going to teach himself. Nuck seems like he's trying to get a level of approval from Duda. He seems as if he's trying to show his skill through this chess game by the type of moves that he's making, but he's also getting schooled at the same time. Nuck makes a move to sacrifice his queen, and Duda was like, you don't never sacrifice your queen, you use them. Fatima really outdid herself with this house. She really did. She hooked up the house. Victor's coming home, and he is like, wow, like, it looks amazing. Like, she got chandeliers, ottomans, like, hands down, whoever designed this space is dope. It really is dope. Like, the colors, everything is flowing. But he uses this opportunity to um ask her what she thought about possibly starting a family. And you could tell, based off of her reaction, that this is something that she's always dreamed of, because she gets that little nervous motion going on. Like, she's excited, but doesn't want to seem too anxious about it. Like, she could barely stand. You could see her face, like, she doesn't even know how to react. But she's like, this is something that I dreamed of all my life, but I didn't think that this could be possible for me or if this would even happen. But she also does come with a lot of questions like, how are we going to do this with the FBI questioning you? How are we going to do this with you being so busy? She has a lot of rebuttals, but you could tell that that's something that she really wants. And they agree to keep the conversation open, to keep discussing it, that we'll figure something out. But I think this is exactly what she wanted to hear, and she's truly excited, but she just doesn't know how to take this information. But I think it's super cute that they're deciding to expand their family. The timing seems off to me. I don't understand why he wants all of this right now when all that stuff been going on with the FBI. But I mean, you do got to see it through. But he can't promise that everything's going to be okay. Like, I think he should get some confirmation first before they even do that. But that ain't my business. Oh gosh. Y'all know where Bakari went with the guns, right? I'll wait. Yup. You're right. He went straight to Lene's house. And the minute he walked up in that window, because he does climb into the window to get to her house. So now that's mental note. My child can't have an attic room or something like that, like because mofos climb into windows and stuff. But okay, whatever. Well, I have no daughter, so I guess this don't even matter. But this is just note to self: if I was to ever have a daughter, we can't have that because you coming in and out. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But she's like, listen, you can't stay here because she thinks it's a spend the night bag and it's not. So she asks us what's in the bag and he lets her know that he can't say or you'll get in trouble. We both will get in trouble if you know. It's best that you don't know. And she's like, I'm not keeping that bag. And he's like, this is the only place that I have. Like, I have no place else to bring it, no place else to go. I just really need the salad for you. But I'm like, Dad, the fact that he's putting her in a situation again is just blowing my mind because it's just like, oh my goodness, now I'm just instantly thinking about Nina finding this because I know it's going to be Nina. I just had that feeling it's going to be her. But Lene instructs him to just put it in the closet and she takes the bag. And I'm just like, this is a huge mistake. The time has come. We wore all white to the funeral. I was boiling my eyes out like he was my pappy. We all wore white to the funeral. Everyone's looking good. Keisha walks in and Emmett grabs her so that he could talk to her. And he makes it very clear, don't you ever talk to Nuck behind my back again. And she's like, I just did this so I could protect my family. Like, again, this is not the time and place to talk, so they being real fake. They being real fake because Tracy tried to say hi to them as they arguing. They stop just to hug each other real quick. Like, how many couples y'all know that's like this? Be arguing all the time, but when someone comes around, they want to act like they all lovey dovey. Like, if y'all arguing, argue. Don't be fake. Duda comes in with his trifling self and comes to pay respect. And First Lady orders him to get out. And he was like, I don't know what you heard, but I had nothing to do with this at all. And she was like, yeah, you may have not, but one of your pawns did. And when she said that, Nuck overheard her use that specific word pawns. Because when Nuck and Duda were playing chess, Duda told Nuck that he needs to stop relying on his pawn so much. He needs to use his queen. He needs to change up his game because he was guessing all of his moves. But when Nuck heard First Lady say you had one of your pawns to do it, Nuck had that realization of, oh shit, like he really using me. And that could go one of two ways going forward. But I think Nuck is slowly waking up to see how much he's been controlled by Duda. And I think he's going to switch up. Papa goes to the altar to say his final words. And Whoever sang that song before Papa was speaking, I gotta look it up, but his voice was amazing. Like, even that had me boo-hooing. Like, everything in this episode had me boo-hoo crying. But Papa um goes up to say his final words, and he instantly breaks down at the pulpit. And again, my heart shatters a little bit more. But his boys, Jake and Kevin, come to the rescue just to hold him up with supports and comfort while he was talking. And so they stood behind him. And Papa mentions that he no longer has a person that he lives for because he always did things to impress and make his dad proud. And that killed me. For when he said that, I lost it. I really did. Because can you imagine, you're just graduating high school, you know, you had this heated conversation with your dad, and now he was murdered. And now you no longer have that person that you would run home to with the exciting news, or who you did everything to make them proud. Like, I can't even imagine. One, I don't even know if I even would have the strength to even get up and talk. So I applaud his courage. I applaud his words, because he really, even in grief, still said some amazing words to keep going. I know you lost that person, but you still have to make sure you keep that compass inside to still be a great person, and still um, honor their life by keeping on, by doing the things that are noble. While he's talking at the funeral, we're seeing glimpse of the burial site and everyone gathering there. We see that Bakari was indeed at the burial, because we do see him behind a tree, but I don't know if he didn't feel like he potentially could be welcomed at the funeral. I don't know exactly what that was. I don't know if he was at the funeral and just went to the burial. Again, I know it could be just so hard, because when Bakari was at the burial, he was breaking down, but it seemed like he was hiding. Um, we also saw, while he was speaking, the community coming together and having a candlelight visual, and everyone, supporting each other. But that was the episode of The Chi this week. And I'm not okay. I am really not okay. I I'm hurting. I'm going through levels of grief. Okay, because I'm still on the fact that how they murdered my boy, and I'm still just going down this emotional roller coaster with the whole therapy session and then the funeral. And y'all know I wore white. Y'all know I did. I made sure I wore white. So here are my predictions for next week. Now, next week we do have the mid-season finale, and then there's going to be a break. I don't know how long the break's going to be, um, but I truly think that Nuck is going to have a different type of vibe going into next episode. I think that after he realized how Duda has been using him, he's going to be switching up to take him out, because Nuck technically is next in line, right? So I think that he's going to try to take Duda out. Maisha and Gemma, I don't know if they're gonna still continue to work with each other, but I do see them still having beef after the studio session. Like, I truly think that they could be a great team, but they really have to have a conversation. Maisha finding out about Gemma possibly wanting to work with Brittany. Like, no, it's not Maisha's business to know these things, because yes, a manager can, represent multiple people. But this is not an official business, so I feel like it was kind of messed up that Gemma didn't, tell her and set the expectation, set the tone about what's going on, because it makes it look as if, you think I'm whack and you just trying to get somebody else. And if that's the case, tell me, you know? So I think there's more of a conversation that needs to be had with them. Um, Kevin. Kevin is going to be moving. I'm assuming he's gonna be in LA next episode because he's packing up everything. Um, I'm still holding on a thread of faith, that there's gonna be a spinoff, but nothing was indicated. I've been trying to read in between the lines online just to see if I could get any clues or anything, but nothing along those lines have been indicated. So we just gonna have to wait and see what's happening with that. Papa, I think he's going to be, going through the ups and downs. I don't think we've seen even the worst of it. I think we're going to see how his grief is going to translate in these upcoming episodes within the Chi. And I just hope that, he doesn't go too far dark during the process and that he could come out stronger than ever. Keisha, Emmett, I have no hope left for them too. Like I didn't have that much hope since we came back from this season because again, there's so much moving pieces with them right now that I don't see them sustaining. I don't feel like they're both moving as if they respect each other. So this is just like a recipe for disaster. So I'm curious to see how that is going to translate for them as well because Keisha crossed the line when she reached out to Nuck. She definitely did. Keisha reaching out to Nuck shows like she ain't fucking with Emmett right now. She really not. Because someone in their right mind not gonna put themselves in that situation. They're not. So I think she just wanted to even the score. I think she wanted to be petty too. I don't know. Who else can we say a prediction on? To me, like that's just what the big ones that I've been thinking about. Like we still need Duda to be gone. Hands down, Duda needs to go. And I'm curious to see what's gonna happen next season. I mean, next episode. And then next episode, don't y'all leave us on a cliffhanger that's gonna have us upset. I already feel like that's what's gonna happen because we never had a mid-season finale. So, one, we don't know how long the break is gonna be, and then two, don't leave us mad. If y'all gotta go refilm the ending, please go fix it. Go fix it, cause don't leave us like that. Please don't. But yeah, that was it for the predictions. I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts on the rest of the season is going to be. Let me know what you thought about Keisha talking to Emmett. Like all the things that transpired within this episode, let's talk about it. You can find me on Instagram and you can find me on TikTok at I'm underscore that underscore dope. You can find me on Facebook at Janelle Renee. And just join the conversation. Like, I will not bite. It's been really fun. Like, we planned a whole repass if y'all missed it. So, I will be live next week, Friday. I will have that information linked in the description below. So, chime in. It's been fun as always. And I'm going to see you next week. Bye.